Disclaimer: the following video can contain spoilers. The death of Charles Deetz brings this chaotic family back together for his memorial service. But as Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, tries to ignite a love that never formed, he is caught in the crosshairs of his former wife, Dolores, Monica Bellucci.
What the f***?
Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is a very fun and enjoyable movie. But there are a lot of problems that I had with it, mainly from a story perspective. That being a wasted character that doesn't add on to story, stakes, or structure, problems or obstacles solved conveniently, and a rushed ending. Let's begin. The movie opens up with a nostalgic feeling of an older movie. That being a long opening credit sequence as we pull up to the Deetz's home. Not gonna lie, I appreciate this little detail because it feels like there was some level of care into creating this sequel. They wanted to make it feel like a sequel that could have come out around the same time as the first movie. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't mean the movie was perfect. Lydia, Winona Ryder, became a sellout. Using her ability to see ghosts, she used it to create a TV show where she goes to explain the unexplainable. During one of her recordings, she sees Beetlejuice for the first time in years, sending her into a panic. When her mother informs Lydia that her father, Charles Deetz, was in an accident resulting in death, they return back to Winter River. We transition to the afterlife, using this graffiti artist as a vessel to see Danny DeVito's character accidentally bring Dolores back into action. Sadly, her comeback came from pure chance and not a direct consequence of the protagonist's actions. We do see what she is capable of when she sucks the soul of the janitor. It was just disappointing when she did not wait for a reply after asking the janitor where Beetlejuice was before killing him.
Where is Beetlejuice?
In short, I like that we saw what she can do, as it raises the stakes a bit, because although dead, Beetlejuice is in trouble. But her comeback and impatient impulse slightly hurt the scene, in my opinion. Lydia picks up her daughter from school, where we see how her relationship with her daughter, Astrid, Jenna Ortega, creates tension within this family, and how it'll be part of both their growth later on. I just wish there could have been more depth to it than just the vague sets of dialogue exchanges we get, especially given that this is a huge part of their character, which results in a character arc later on. Because when we do explore this backstory between these two characters, we understand that Lydia's relationship with her husband, now deceased, Richard, Ricardo Cabrera, hurt the family more than it should because Astrid believes her mother didn't care about him and only cares about her image and popularity. Especially given that she cannot see his ghost, it feels like she brushes her away all the time and makes more time for her own gain than being with her daughter.
There you go again. You just sidestep every possible conversation about him.
Astrid, I loved your father, but...
It's ironic, isn't it? You can apparently see any random ghost for your shitty TV show, but the one ghost that actually matters to me you can't see at all.
Rory, Justin Theroux, proposes to Lydia and is set to get married on Halloween. Annoyed, Astrid takes a bike ride to town and meets Jeremy, Arthur Conti, where they hit it off. Long story short, Beetlejuice finds out about Charles Deetz's passing and figures out that now is his chance to get married with Lydia. Therefore, when Lydia comes to Beetlejuice for help on rescuing her daughter from Jeremy, he makes her sign a marriage contract. But in the end, much like the first movie, he is defeated before they tie the knot. As the credits roll out, I sat there confused. I liked the movie, but something about it felt off. I know that the ending was rushed, but I knew it was much more than that. Looking back, I came to figure out that the movie had several setups that didn't really have a payoff. These setups are forgotten halfway through the movie, so when it comes back into play at the end, everything gets spewed out, creating that feeling of a rushed ending. Some examples are, although we understand the relationship between the mother and daughter, we never got a chance to have a deeper understanding of this relationship and how they clash with one another. So that, at the end, when Astrid finally sees that her mother was telling the truth and her character arc comes into effect, it feels unnatural, like a complete 180 of a character. Because there wasn't much to begin with other than the basic family feud, this character arc felt quick and unnatural. Sure, her one experience with ghosts and the afterlife was traumatizing, I still can't shake that feeling that something wasn't quite right. Especially when Lydia gets a hold of Astrid in the afterlife and they're running away, Astrid says, "Oh, I just saw Dad." This moment in time felt so weird because Lydia didn't take a moment to hear Astrid, didn't make any sort of comment or gesture emotion of what Astrid said. Neither did Astrid rebuttal against Lydia's silence. They just kind of go through a door, fall onto one of Saturn's moon apparently, meet the sandworm, and then get rescued by their dad, which I will talk about in a little bit. That crucial moment was skipped for the sake of continuing the story, only to bring it back a little bit later, but for it to not have the same effect as it could have. Sure, we do see a bit of their clash and how it affects them, but I do feel there could have been more to this setup that makes the payoff more impactful, is what I'm trying to say. What could have helped was having Lydia see more ghosts, affecting her everyday life. That way, we do get to see that Astrid can't comprehend her mother, instead of feeling that her mother is self-absorbed and careless of her relationship with her husband. Because we never see how these ghosts truly affect Lydia's life, it really does feel that Lydia clashes between her two sets of self, her sellout version and her family version. It also never explained how Astrid was now able to see ghosts, and what exactly allows Lydia to see ghosts other than her abilities. Or at least the movie never explained why she couldn't see her husband's ghost. Which could have added onto this story, added onto this weight that these characters are having. Although I do like how Mr. Juice locks himself away from Dolores but chooses to chase Lydia even with the threat of death, it doesn't have a payoff because Dolores' character gets ruined, especially at the end. So even though Mr. Juice is active in choosing love over life, theoretically speaking, nothing happens afterwards that challenges this decision or adds obstacles. Nothing happens that forces Beetlejuice to pivot in a new direction in order to meet his goal, which means there doesn't seem to be much stakes coming from Dolores' side, other than just speculations and teases. So when she is defeated, it doesn't feel rewarding. Because much like Astrid's character arc, it was too quick and sudden that it doesn't feel right. Not to mention how her death didn't originate from a character arc that allows the protagonist to be victorious. She just shows up, threatens Beetlejuice, and a sandworm comes out of the ground and eats her, or knocks her down or something. The problem is that not one of these actions came from a character arc. None of these actions came from an epiphany moment. It just sort of happens. Astrid sees the Book of the Deceased, reads a small section, draws a door, and poof, a sandworm comes out. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
What the f?
What could have helped was for Dolores to provide more obstacles for Beetlejuice as he tries to get closer with Lydia. For her to ruin part of Beetlejuice's plans, making him have to alternate his strategy while fleeing her. While this notion is present in the movie, because there aren't any scenes where Dolores catches up to Beetlejuice or presenting obstacles onto Beetlejuice throughout the movie, the part where she's frantically looking for him, soul-sucking everybody, without getting the answers to the questions she asks, just feels empty, pointless, and odd. Lastly, I never understood why Lydia was unable to see Richard. She can see ghosts, but not him. Personally, I thought it meant he was alive, or they either find him or he comes home, allowing Lydia to overcome her fears. Instead, he conveniently showed up when he was needed, not to mention how he conveniently held a position that was needed for the story.
Dad? Astrid?
Dad? Help me!
This convenience to me hurt the movie in a big way because instead of there being a deeper reason why Lydia cannot see him, being connected with her flaws, and only by overcoming this hurdle can she now see him, it was never explained and was only convenient that he showed up when he did. Like I said, it would have been cool if Lydia had some sort of flaw that prevented her from seeing Richard. Whether it be guilt, lack of love, or something else. That way, when she grows and changes and overcomes this flaw, she is now able to see him, allowing her to gain a new perspective with life, which, by proxy, defeats Beetlejuice and or Dolores. Because the movie never explained this, I feel defeats the purpose of Lydia not being able to see his ghost. Because the movie went a different direction with Jeremy, with the trading souls, instead of just having Jeremy marry Astrid, much like Beetlejuice wanted to marry Lydia to get out of the afterlife. I thought there was going to be a deeper reason for that. But no.
I know you can't see me, but I chicken on you both all the time. And I don't want to be the reason that drove you two apart.
In short, Beetlejuice presented a writing problem, where things happened, didn't happen, or weren't giving enough time to explain what happened. Because what was the point of introducing things if it wasn't going to delve deeper or have any sort of importance? Apart from that, I would have liked Lydia to freak out more, at least more audibly and louder, to really make those reactions seem genuine. At the end of the day, Beetlejuice was still enjoyable with its silliness. Michael Keaton was fantastic as Beetlejuice. His screen time, though short, was enjoyable to see.
It's a quid pro quo.
Of course there is. What do you want?
I swear on my dead mother's soul. Oh, yikes.
He's a soul sucker.
Oh yeah, you could say that again.
He really shined in this movie. So this movie has flaws, but it was still enjoyable. I can almost disregard its flaws. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. Did you enjoy the movie? Let me know what you thought about it down below, and I'll see you in the next review. Until then, God bless.